we need to have
They'll
a value
spend 4,000 here.
for
It's priceless.
on a level of awareness.
Yep.
Of things that you asked an excellent question earlier. What have we learned that was priceless in some way? Well, for me, it was that as modern people, we need a new definition of heroism.
Yeah.
See, we made it so narrow that a hero was only someone who was this tall and a square jaw, and they were macho and they were strong and silent and right, you know. Whereas actually, all of us are capable of being heroes. Mm-hmm. On any given day, we could do something heroic by elevating a hero to a pedestal, where you're going to have a monument for this person. We've taken all the ladders, all the steps off the ladder. I'm just a regular person. How am I going to be a hero?
And it's all about climbing steps.
Right? We need millions of heroes in all areas of life. And stories like these are meant to inspire that. How did someone who was denied education suddenly become a congressman? Not because they lowered the standards. It was because they said, oh my God, you mean I can read now? Here, give me all the books you can give me. This is what that feeling of passion comes from knowing your history. Because that person in that time knew all of the people I knew, all of my relatives, it was against the law for them to read. It breaks my heart if I see young blood, hands hanging down. I go, well, where's the nearest library? He's going to say, what? Library? What you talking about, man? Why would I go to a library? Mm-hmm. Well, because the stuff in the library is what you won't find anywhere else. And where you could be is also in that library.
Correct.
In terms of human potential.
And it's I tell all the youth, it's very, very important to read. Reading is a fundamental. One of my heroes was Dr. King, because I never saw anybody just knowingly going into battle. You had black people and white people didn't like Dr. King, because some people didn't want to be free, and they didn't understand the concept of being free. So Dr. King would go into a battle, knowingly get beat up. I know I'm going to this battle to get beat up, but I'm gonna be nonviolent. That's an oxymoron. How many people do you know? Like you said, we like watered down the heroism and the hero term now. Who's doing that? But when you come to Fort Mose, you see a lot of people did it. That's why Dr. King had to drive in him.
It was a whole community of people.
The young lady, delivered the baby newborn, walking through the swamps of Carolinas, coming to Florida.
And that's how we value each other. If your son's future does not have the same value as the kid who grows up in East Hampton, then we have an imbalance in our society. It doesn't have to be anybody's fault. I'm not interested in finding fault. I'm interested in finding solutions.
Solution to the issue.
Right? So I'm sure that this is an ongoing thing. Mm-hmm. But I'll mention two things. One is there's a group in Washington, D.C. who has also picked up a baton like yourself. They're called the Triangle Bike Works, and they've organized inter-city bike long-distance rides.
Okay.
And they were going to ride from Charleston down to Fort Mose.
Okay.
We had to do it virtually, so we did a presentation from here, but it can be seen online. I'll somehow try and get it to you.
Okay.
Also, I'm doing another program in town. It's called I Lived Here as Well. Mm-hmm. And it is the story of urban slavery, and it's at the Fadio House downtown.
Urban slavery,
which is a 300-year-old house. And when they realized it had a third floor to it, they had some delivery was. They said, well, what's on the third floor? And they opened the room and realized that that's where the slaves had been, your urban slaves. So what now part of that story fits together is there were numerous people who had houses in town who may have had a fairly nice-looking staff. You would think that they were just well-treated, but they were actually owned. And the money maker was the 600 acres of land out there. But those people don't want to live out there. They got their houses in town. The people who tended to them, that was a 24/7 job. If you worked in the field, once the sun went down, you're like, thank you, boom, throw that shovel down. I don't want to hear about it until tomorrow. These people were attached to the bell. And so what about that show was so popular, Dunlawton, about the rich people that were in
Downton Abbey?
Downton
Downton Abbey, yeah.
Well, Downton Abbey was built in 1740. So that says to me that's made from sugar cane and sugar money. Came straight from Charleston. How many rooms? And who are their servants? The Irish people, who technically it looks to me like Ireland was their first colony. And they treated Irish people, what do you want to call them, second-class citizens, or you want to call them black people?